A lot of dating advice glosses over the concepts of compatibility and chemistry, assuming most people have an intuitive grasp of what these two words mean and why they are so important to a successful relationship. Everyone kind of assumes we know what compatibility and chemistry mean and whether we have them or not. Dating advice mostly ignores diving into compatibility and chemistry because they can't be faked or changed. These ideas are there or they are not. Instead, most dating advice focuses on nuts and bolts of dating: what to say, when to say it, how to not look like an ass face. Dating advice also caters to people who want the hacks. They want to know how to get that person who we feel is out of our league to somehow trick them into noticing us. 3 things to say to a girl we've never had before, or here's what to wear to attract the man we've fantasized about, or don't talk about pineapples on the first date if you don't want to die alone. And if the guy or girl who's out of our league is actually not compatible with us, well, we don't really want to hear about that. Compatibility versus chemistry. The terms compatibility and chemistry are often used interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. A lot of people use the words loosely to try to define that thing which exists in the space between two people, the unspeakable and unseen connection, or the lack thereof. But they're not the same thing at all, and understanding the difference is crucial if you want a happy, healthy, and a long-term relationship. What is compatibility? Compatibility is the natural alignment of lifestyle choices and values of two people. A youth minister and a drug dealer are probably incompatible, and I doubt many end up dating each other. If I value women who are intelligent and educated, and I meet a high school dropout who is attracted to guys who have big muscles and like to hunt deer, then we have a fundamental incompatibility that will probably never be overcome, and there are slim chances we will date one another, at least not for long. Compatibility is about the long-term potential of two people. High compatibility comes from similarities in lifestyles and values. Generally speaking, educated liberal people usually date other educated and liberal people. Pleasure-seeking people usually date other hedonists. Insane religious nuts usually date other insane religious nuts. Areas of compatibility. Life priorities. Where does each of you see yourself in the next 5 years? Is it climbing the corporate ladder or living out your days on a tropical beach? Does one want to have a kid and settle down while the other wants a carefree life? Preferences. Are there activities you both enjoy? Is one of you comfortable living in a dumpster while the other is a clean freak? Does one of you love being in the nature, early morning hikes, and adrenaline rushing activities, whilst the other enjoys clubbing, going to concerts, or keeping up with the celebrity gossip? Fundamental beliefs. Is one of you a career scientist while the other bounces from one conspiracy theory to another? Values. Our values are the origin from which most of, if not all of the above flow. If your values are not aligned with your significant other, then I have bad news for you. And the last very important one, favorite flavor of ice cream. It all comes down to ice cream. Always. What is chemistry? Chemistry, on the other hand, represents the emotional connection present when two people are together. When there is a high degree of chemistry, that strong connection can bring out warm, fuzzy emotions in each other, creating a kind of positive feedback loop through which two people continue to make each other feel better and better. When you have a high degree of chemistry with someone, they monopolize your thoughts or your free time. You'll stay awake talking till the sun comes up and not even feel like an hour went by. You'll hope that every call or text is him or her. You'll walk through life constantly wondering what else he or she thinks about this song, this bird, or a walk through the park. Call it passion, call it love, or call it sickness. The basic traits of your or their personality and the slightest behaviors ravage each other's dopamine receptors in a neurological, pleasureful frenzy. Areas of chemistry. The way your partner laughs at your jokes, the question they ask you about your day, the way you hold each other in bed, how they help you decorate your new apartment, the way they smell, how they always ask for a bite of your ice cream, and when you say no, they take a bite anyways, but look so damn cute while doing it, you can never bring yourself to feel mad. This is the definition of true love, by the way. And like I said, it all comes down to ice cream. Always. Chemistry is made of subtle behaviors and dispositions that mesh with behaviors and dispositions of the other person. What's created is a kind of a closed karmic loop in which chemistry is felt by both parties equally. The most important rule about chemistry is that whatever you're feeling, he or she is most likely feeling the same way. You almost become empaths with one another. Familiar with the saying, opposites attract? High levels of chemistry usually come from opposite yet complementary qualities in people. There might be a lack of compatibility, but having something of the opposite behavior triggers excitement. A woman who is highly strung, energetic, and slightly neurotic will tend to have a high degree of chemistry with a guy who is relaxed, mellow, and open. Introverts often have natural chemistry with extroverts. People who are orderly and intense planners sometimes work best with people who are spontaneous and unorganized. Unlike a lack of compatibility, a lack of chemistry doesn't repel. It simply results in a lack of emotional intensity. Things just feel kind of dead and boring. Chemistry is also reflected in the bedroom. A lack of chemistry will mean boring, emotionless sex. A high degree of chemistry will mean intense, life-altering, heart-pounding sex that causes your mind to cosmically splatter itself on the walls of your consciousness. Healthy and toxic combinations of compatibility and chemistry. Unfortunately, compatibility and chemistry don't always occur together. A relationship with high compatibility but little chemistry is likely to be boring yet comfortable series of meetings and conversations. It will be a dry and dull affair until both parties simply stop caring and drift apart, or they consummate their mutual convenience by getting married and find themselves in a lifetime of uncomplicated and often asexual companionship. Sadly, this arrangement isn't uncommon. Chemistry without compatibility, on the other hand, usually leads to disaster. Sometimes it can be as simple as not living in the same part of the world, but often it's far more complicated than that. When two people are completely incompatible, their behavior becomes completely irrational. Too often, two incompatible people initiate a cycle of mutual emotional immolation, spiraling through love-hate cycles together at the speed of life. People find themselves saying things like, "I don't care if he's married to a convicted felon. We are meant to be together." Or, "Look, I know she faked being pregnant to get me to propose her, but it may just be fate, right?" Meanwhile, friends stare, jaws agape, unsure whether to risk the backlash by trying to snap them out of it, or to give support while their love-blind torture victim pal continues to spin helpless and deluded in a tornado of love. High levels of chemistry with major incompatibilities is bad news. Really bad news. These relationships usually begin quickly and passionately, exploding like a geyser before dying down just as quickly as it erupted. This tends to happen when logic kicks in and when reality makes itself known. Suddenly, you realize how freaking offensive you find each other. But getting out of such a relationship is easier said than done. Your heart says yes, but your head says no. And then you convince your head to say yes, which in turn makes your heart says no. At this point, your decision making usually defaults to your genitals, even though their track record for decision making is about as good as a drunk third grader's, which only leads to embarrassing public arguments, unpaid drink tabs, thrown iPhones, changed locks, unanswered phone calls, tear-ridden voicemails, and the sterile interior of a clinic, which is guaranteed to challenge anyone's sanity. And then there you are. You find yourself jobless with 6 stitches, slashed car tires, and a shattered cell phone. But at least the psycho is gone, eh? Even though you still kinda miss them. The experience is vicious yet thrilling, and will never let you forget that we are, after all, animals. Finding the perfect fit. Spoiler alert, you won't. Search all you want, but you will never ever find someone who has 100% compatibility and chemistry with you. Someone whose life priorities are perfectly aligned with yours may still enjoy completely different leisure activities. You may swoon every time your partner smiles at you, but get irritated by how they always make that weird sound when breathing. 100% compatibility and chemistry doesn't exist. You'd be dating yourself, and even then you're going to have a bad time. 70 to 80% compatibility and chemistry is what you should be aiming for. Is there a way to measure this? Hell no, but that feels about right to me. This is more than enough to have a well-functioning relationship, to build a partnership based on mutual respect, to fall a little more in love with each passing day, but also weather the storms when love just doesn't seem to be enough. And here's a dirty little secret. You don't want that remaining 20-30%. It's actually dealing with those flaws and surmounting the small irritation that makes a relationship feel meaningful and rewarding. So stop looking for the one. Stop dreaming of someone who finishes all your sentences and does everything you want them to, exactly the way you like it. They don't exist. That's not a relationship. That's a rich fantasy life. Know what you want. Navigating the dating landscape with confidence requires that you understand compatibility and chemistry. If you want to ultimately end up enjoying your time with an amazing partner, and I don't just mean enjoying sex, that should be given, but I mean really, truly enjoying your time together, then it's important you get a cognitive handle on these emotional indicators of compatibility and chemistry. The most important aspect is understanding what you want. What makes a person compatible with you? What personality traits have chemistry with you? The first question you should ask yourself is, what do I want? And then you should probably ask yourself a few more questions. You need to know what you like and what you want in a partner. Like if you want kids or not, or if you're really into blondes. Those answers matter. If you don't know, then you need to cautiously gain enough experience until you do. In his dating experience, Mark Manson says, "Back when I was dating, I found that I was incapable of dating girls who weren't incredibly smart. I could make it 2 to 3 dates with a woman of average intelligence or less, and that was usually solely by merit of drowning my entire face in alcohol. Since a long-term relationship with these women would have necessitated that I take up alcoholism as a hobby, we inevitably parted ways. I also learned that I don't work well with women who are particularly religious or who have socially conservative values. Just not my thing. I learned that I have chemistry with women who are driven and ambitious. Their personalities work with mine in a unique yet comfortable way for both of us. I've also found my personality meshes well with women who are a tad neurotic, as I'm generally too laid back for my own good. I click with women who appreciate a dark, sarcastic wit and are very giving and caring. In my dating days, I regularly found myself seeing teachers, nurses, social workers, volunteer workers, etc. for multiple dates, which sometimes progressed to a serious relationship. These are the women who work for me. Who works for you? I hope you find this video helpful. I will be making further self-improvement videos. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer. Please hit like and subscribe to not miss out on further videos. Thank you for watching.